Live. My community, my friends, my amazing Barakniks, my YouTubers, my Patreons, my Discords, my Instagrams. It is so awesome to be back. On today's live stream, we are going to be covering something so different because I have thought so much about the importance of sharing more about my life, my experiences, and how all of these have shaped me to be the person that I am. It always connects to the work that I'm doing for Israel and advocacy, trying to spread awareness, but it's really all about storytelling. And this is what we're going to go over today is easily one of the more larger foundations inside of my life, in my body, in my experience as a person. A lot of it is physical, right? When we talk about the physical obstacles that I faced as an athlete and a basketball player. But there's so much more than just the physical barrier that I have always had to try and overcome and still have to overcome from a injury standpoint, a physical limitation standpoint when it comes to performing as a basketball player. And there have been so many different lessons from this journey that I've carried with me to other parts of my life. And I'm still in my 20s and feel like there's wisdom that I can pass along to those who are younger than me, the same age as me, or even older. And that is today's live stream. We are going to give it a couple minutes for people to drop in. Once I see Chrome on there, we can drop this intro song. He actually might not have seen the notification, so I don't think we're gonna have to wait all the way for him. It's gonna be a very small stream today, so this is gonna be an exclusive to the Barakniks, which I'm excited about. Gina, Beach, Sushila, Ainora, Mark, hello everyone. This is such a different style for my stream too. It's like totally unrelated, obviously, to the war in Israel, and I think that there's a sense of freshness and distraction that is sometimes really important, because not to say that what is going on in Israel, hi Sushila, to say that what is going on in Israel isn't important, of course it is, but if we're overconsumed by everything that's going on, then I think we are not paying enough attention to other parts about our lives and our stories and conversations that need to be had for healthy reasons, for healthy purposes. I want to read out, actually, let's first get Chrome's intro song playing, and maybe that will inspire those to join. So clap and then in chat. Clap it up. Other Barack. With the grit and determination, this the nation. Boots on the ground. He see the propaganda popping up and he's shooting it down. Raw with the facts, but smooth with the sound. And if you like the movement, then you can get down. You gotta be in the fam. Join the Discord and follow the Instagram. We a worldwide community. They try to divide, but we fortified with unity. I'm really about this, so I joined the Patreon to put my money where my mouth is. Now you're ready to rock, cause I'm ready to go. One more time for the other rock, then we'll get to the show. Claps in the chat. I get so excited every time I hear that. So we're gonna get started. We've got 13 beautiful people on this stream. This is going to be probably the smallest, quietest stream of all time, which is totally fine because when you look at my, I'm looking at it right now, my page, it's so much about, wow. It's a lot of intensity around war, fighting, Israel, Gaza, Palestine, Iran, ceasefire, Bibi, attack, Sinwar. There's, clearly a very heavy pillar of the Israel stuff on my page, and that's very intentional. And I think that I want to allow others to have more insight into my personal life. Now, these are things that I've actually made videos about before. For those of you who don't know, I was filming YouTube content leading up to the 7th of October in the fitness and basketball space. On October 6th, this is not made up, this is a true story. On October 6th, I had a conversation with an individual here in Israel who was going to be coming on as my first video editing sort of brand creator to help me delegate some of the work that I was doing for YouTube. And again, this is totally focused on basketball and fitness and storytelling and motivation. October 6th. October 7th, we all wake up, see the news. I fly back to the States on the 10th, and we had follow-up conversations when I was back at home and he was still here. We were both directly affected. He was, very affected by the situation. And so unfortunately, he was not emotionally sort of able to invest himself, which is totally understandable. At the same time, my content really shifted from the basketball fitness to the advocacy. Putting all of that aside, not all of it, but really thrusting the fitness content aside, the basketball content aside, I entered this cave here where my time and attention was solely focused on how do I speak up for Israel? How do I share my truth? How do I become a voice? That's it. That's really it. That was the only intention. I did not think that I was going to still be doing this November. I mean that. I didn't think I was going to be doing live streams 2 or 3 times a week. I didn't think I was going to have a YouTube channel, which, by the way, just hit 35,000 subscribers. I didn't think that I was going to run a Discord community. I didn't think that I was going to be this growing voice on Instagram. Honestly, basketball and fitness were always in my mind. They always are in my mind. And still, when I woke up, it was so important for me to get involved with. It just didn't seem right for me not to say anything. Because if all of you remember, the reason that I started all of this is because when I moved to Israel, I didn't get a call from the army to enlist. And so I chose to sort of enlist myself in this voluntary army service. And as we are clearly approaching yet what looks like to be another really long year, I do think it's important to also share more about the other things that are on my mind, the other things that I think about, the other things that I'm involved with. And many of those are in the ecosystem of fitness and basketball and motivation, storytelling and content creation. It's not just what I was saying before, war, this. So I've made content about the experience I had growing up playing basketball. I've made a full film essentially about all of my injuries. But I think that not a lot of people understand why I am the way that I am. And a lot of it does have to do with this journey of mine through so many different injuries as a basketball player, as an athlete, leading up to the career that I had and the people that I've met, the places that I've worked, all of that stuff. So before I get into that, actually, you know what? Let's just go into it. There's a film on my YouTube channel. It's called Unbroken, and I'll link it right now, just for all of you to have. Hold on. It's long, but it's a film that tells the full story of my injuries and also has a lot to do with the topic of today. I'm going to throw this in here. That's the link to the film. And I will quickly walk all of you through the laundry list of injuries that I've had before. Because I think it's important that all of you understand the vast array of sort of sideline injuries that I've experienced since the age of 16. I'm 29. Almost half my life, basically not 100%, which is fucking crazy to say. So when I was 16 years old, I was a junior going into my senior year of high school, and I was at a tournament at Boston University. I went up for a layup. For those of you who don't know what a layup is, it's when you have a basketball in your hand and you're dribbling towards the basketball hoop. You jump and you try to lay the ball into the hoop like this. That's why it's called a layup. And one of the defenders who tried to block my shot hit me. I was going up for a layup and he hit me midair. So when I fell onto the ground, the first impact onto the ground was my right hip bone. And I was in like really, really bad pain. Just like, 4 or 5 feet in the air, fall down, fell onto my right hip bone. I could sort of feel the pain go down into my back, into my leg. I shook it off, got up, and it actually happened again in the same game. But this time it was like I had to get taken out of the game. Lower back was just trash. But the thing is later that day we had the championship game against, at the time, what was one of the best teams in Massachusetts. They were called New Mission High School. But we only had 6 players on the roster. 5 basketball players at a time playing on the court. It's 5 versus 5, 10 players on the court. One of the other players on my team rolled his ankle and couldn't play. So there were 5 of us, including me, who I was already injured. But if I chose not to play 2, we had to forfeit because you can't play 4. You can't play 4 players. We played 5, but I played injured. I was limping basically the whole game. This was one of the best games I've had, and one of the best games that I recall throughout my playing career. Full packed gym. There were like 6 courts, but our game was in the middle, so all the people came from the sides. They watched us play. People from all over Boston. I mean, it was insane. And here's this team from the suburbs playing against a powerhouse team in Massachusetts. I ended up having, I think, 21 points, but in the fourth quarter, my calf basically locked on me and I had to get taken off the game. I fell down and I couldn't walk anymore. My calf just basically cramped up to the point. So I wasn't able to walk, run. I got taken off. And then of course, when I went home, I told my parents, look, like we got to get my back checked out. I tell this full story because this day, I'll get to the injury in a second. This day is really the last day that I can remember. I'm taking you to when I was 16 years old. I'm 29. Do the math in your head. This is the last day that I can remember that stepping onto a basketball court was pure freedom from having to worry about physical limitations. When you're an athlete, when you play a sport, if you go onto your court, your field, your gym, your mat, your whatever wrestling, basketball, baseball, tennis, football, soccer, rugby, doesn't matter. And you're thinking about not getting injured, or you're thinking about the injury that you're rehabbing, or you're thinking about X, Y, and Z. By thinking about it, you're actually more prone to getting injured because your mind is more focused on preventing yourself from doing something, which inevitably forces you to think more. But really what you want to do is have free movement, free thoughts. You don't want to be focused so much on something. And up until that point, I never really had a serious injury that when I put my shoes on and stepped onto the court, my ability to just be free was pretty much unlimited. So that day was essentially what I would call, still to this day, the last day that I was 100%. It doesn't mean I wasn't pain-free since then. I've been pain-free since then. I'm more so referring to the pain up here, and the pain in the brain, the pain of distraction, the pain of not being able to focus, the pain of mental obstacle, the pain of mental frustration, the pain of being timid, the pain of fear and anxiety. So when I went back home and told my parents I had to get checked out, I got an MRI, and they found 2 different injuries in my back. The first one is called spondylolisthesis, and the other were essentially it's small hairline fractures in my spine. Spondylolisthesis is fancy for like essentially when one of the bones in your spine, one of your vertebrae, sort of slips out of its socket a little bit. And a hairline fracture is a small little crack, if you will, a small little break in a bone. At 16 years old, the orthopedic in the hospital was pretty surprised to see somebody like me who was active, healthy, with these injuries. We started doing testing on my bones to see if we could sort of figure out exactly what might be contributing to this, whether it's a lack of nutrients, bone marrow, calcium. They looked at the bone density. We couldn't really find anything that stuck out. This is the luck of the draw sometimes in life. It could have been genetics. It could have been pre-existing before those falls, and that might have just been the last thread that was hanging. And I was given a protocol to essentially stop playing basketball, stop doing activity, and I was put into a Boston overlap brace, which is a plastic hardshell brace that I wore for 4 months. 23 hours a day. I had 1 hour not wearing it. That hour was split into portions. The first one was, of course, when I had to shower. And the other 3 portions were when I woke up in the morning, when I came back from school in the afternoon, and before I went to bed in the evening, I would stretch for 15 minutes. But I had this plastic hardshell brace. If you knocked on my ribs, you would just hear, that's what you would hear. So when I went back into high school and I had this brace on, people would hug me and they would be very surprised. I'd make the joke that I was working out and that my abs were as strong as steel. Yeah, there was actually a piece of plastic underneath my shirt. I was also hooked up to what is called a bone stimulator. So I essentially had 2 little small sort of probes attached to the back of my back the bottom back, the bottom half. And they were connected to 2 wires that came together. And this wire plugged into a little machine the size of this remote, maybe a little bit smaller. And I put that into my pocket. And essentially it was sending stimulation into my spine to help the bone heal. So at the age of 16, I was hooked to a bone stimulator with a plastic brace. I missed all of my recruiting going into my senior year of high school. At the time of this injury, I was getting recruited by a lot of Division III and Division II schools in the Northeast region of America. But because I wasn't really able to play that much in the summer, which is a huge recruiting circuit for high school basketball players when you're in the summer, and you have games and tournaments and travel leagues in the off season where coaches and recruits can come see you. I didn't have that. So I played my senior year of high school in a transitional brace, which was a downgrade, of course, from the plastic brace once I was able to rehab my back. I ended up going to another high school as a post-grad, which is how a postgraduate year is, where high school students can repeat their senior year. But the thing is when I got there, because I wanted to regain that time that I missed off the court. And when I got there, I had 2 really bad injuries in my shins, my tibias. And I had 2 hairline fractures, 1 in each tibia, which is insane to say because I have to sneeze. Bless me. Let's ring the bell and blow the shofar. Whew. I've been sneezing a lot. I don't know why I don't have allergies. I feel like I have to sneeze again, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. The best is when you sneeze. I had 2 hairline fractures in each of my tibias. The thing was, I needed this year to play to get recruited again. So I was forced to sort of play through those fractures. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have gotten that recruiting again. And those fractures kind of turned permanent. I ended up getting recruited to play at a school in New York called Elmira College. The fractures never healed. So my 2 years at Elmira were basically just being monitored by coaches and trainers to see what my pain levels were. Some days I could play, some days I couldn't. Some days I could walk, some days I couldn't. I had an avulsion fracture in my ankle. I had something called compartment syndrome in my left leg, where there's like increased pressure on the outside region of a group of muscles on your leg, and it increases swelling, which essentially cuts off certain blood flow in your leg, which can have damage to muscles and nerves. One of the more uncomfortable, painful things I'd ever experienced. Even just like to the skin would really, really hurt. So my body was breaking down, and I'm 18 years old. I haven't even gotten to I haven't even played, right? Like I told you, 16 injured. 2 years at Elmira, in and out of injuries every single day was just ice, rest, ice, rest, ice. I mean, I could never catch a rhythm. Like as an athlete, you want to see over time on that X and Y axis, things improve. You want to see steady increments of improvement over time. Yes, you're going to have ups and downs, but over time when you zoom out, you should continue to want to strive and get better. Mine was just always like flatlined or down. I would come back up and then another injury, flatlined or down. Come back up, then another injury. And this like getting punched. I haven't even finished the injuries. I'm just letting you know where my mindset was sophomore year of college. Being in New York was tough for me because I was so far away from my family. The area was very socioeconomically depressed.
I wasn't able to find myself happy or excited about any of the opportunities from a work perspective. So I decided to come back to go to another college back closer to my family. I went to Curry College. They happened to be one of the first colleges ever to recruit me when I was at high school. So I ended up going there to be closer to my family, but also it was convenient because the coach knew me and everything. A day before I moved in to Elmira, to Curry, I tore my ACL. For those of you who don't know what a torn ligament fully in your knee means, should I say ACL, it's typically a season-ending injury, which it did exactly that for me. I didn't play my junior year. I had surgery in September 2016. I had a 10-month rehab process. I played my senior year at Curry. We were not good, but I, at that point in my life, just wanted an opportunity to wear a college basketball jersey. Because I knew that my career as a player would just... I have to get a tissue, by the way, because my nose, 1 second. Thank you for being patient. I just wanted an opportunity to play. And we played. We weren't very good. My body was breaking down. Fast forward, I graduate college, work in tech, quit, get my certificate to be a trainer, train, come to Israel, 2019. Come across this organization that started for athletes who immigrated into Israel. I get recruited, we play. We won the first year of the league. We move up to the 4th division. And then in February, was it February? February 2022. I was in a game and I was running for the ball. I'm here. Here's another player. The ball's right here. We both were running for the ball and he collided into me. And this is my right arm. So imagine his arm gets wrapped in here. And he rips my arm behind my head. So my shoulder just ripped on me, almost like fully. And I had a torn bicep tendon in my shoulder. So I couldn't even like really do this. Like when my nephew came to visit me, I had to like lie down and hold him like this so that the weight of me going into the couch would take stress off of my shoulder when having to lift. But if I came out, now all of the, stress is on my shoulder. I couldn't even lift my nephew. This is 2 years ago, right? By the way. And that same year, I started to have issues in my foot. And I started to lose sense of touch and feel in one of my toes. And I found out that I had something called Morton's neuroma, which is fancy for, you have your 5 toes and you have nerve tissue around each toe. So imagine some of that nerve tissue, expanding and getting thicker. And it can cut off some of the circulation of that nerve going through to the toe, which obviously leaves you to not having sensation in some of your toes. 28 years old, 27 years old, fractured back, fractured tibias, fractured ankle, compartment syndrome, torn ACL, bicep tendon torn partially, Morton's neuroma. You have to ask yourself, how is it that I never stopped? Why did I continue? I remember when I was a senior in high school, after my back injury, somebody said, "Why are you even trying to go play basketball in college? Just hang up the shoes." I'll never forget that, because for some reason that one individual, like that conversation has stayed with me. And I remember I was pretty angry when I walked away from that, because I was like, that's the easiest fucking thing to do. And I don't want to do what other people would do. I don't want to do the simple, easy, let me just fucking, pass through here and call it a day. I want to prove to myself that I can persevere. I want to prove to myself that I can fight through injuries. I want to prove to myself that I'm not going to let this define who I am. The amount of time that I spent as a person, as a basketball player, as an athlete, on the sideline, doing rehab exercises, getting there an hour early just to warm up my body, doing things with coaches on the side, doing things in my dorm room with bands and weights, and having the extra 30 minutes before, the ice baths after, the medication, going to the physical therapy clinic, 2 to 3 times a week on my own, making sure that I was on top of my rehab, recording myself, sticking to a protocol, being consistent, always having to feel like I'm just catching up, playing catch up, playing catch up, playing catch up. The idea of always playing catch up has been my story for so long. It's given me a massive chip on my shoulder, but also allowed me to be very competitive with people around me. Because it's always felt like on the basketball court, I needed to always chase, and I was never at the place that I wanted to be. Not that athletes should ever be complacent with where they are. There's always more to get better at. But as you're climbing a mountain, the mountain, and you can stop and take a look behind you and look down and see how far you've come, I've never had that experience as a basketball player. And playing catch up, not catch up, playing catch up. And that's been the most frustrating part, because when I die, when this is all said and done, I'm going to be in my deathbed, and I will never have experienced what my peak was as an athlete. I believe that. I believe that I will never have actually been able to see and feel and touch and realize what my true peak ability was as a basketball player. But I can tell you that for the past 13 years of my life, 14 years of my life, given the fact that I still can't feel one of my toes, the amount of getting just punched in the face over and over with adversity. No, you can't play. No, you can't do that. Here's another month. Here's 2 months. Here's 10 months. Here's your toe. Here's your shoulder. I've been so immune to it's as if when I get hurt now, I'm not even that surprised. And when I do get hurt, it used to be so easy for me to get angry. But if I get hurt again, I'm sort of like, this kind of makes sense. I still don't know where the light is at the end of the tunnel. I still don't know why all of these things have happened to me. I still don't know why me. Take care of my body. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I eat well. I work out. I sleep. I'm a good person. I've been around people, teammates, basketball players who have a shitty diet. They don't sleep. They don't take care of themselves. They don't have a good work ethic. They don't work hard. They don't drink the right fluids. They smoke. They go out. They don't care as much as I do. And they never get hurt. They get the most minutes. They perform the best. They never seem to have to do any of these extras that I would have to do. And I never understood why that was. And I never will understand why that is. Not that I feel like I need to, but when I was playing, that was the thing that crushed me the most, was what is it that I'm not doing right? The reason I was always so consistent about my rehab is because I never wanted to allow myself to be the person for being the reason I'm not progressing. I could never allow myself to be the one to blame. I never wanted to allow that. And still to this day, when it comes to rehab and protocol and consistency and listening and exercises and all of it, did all of it consistently. And still wasn't able to figure it out. But the ability for me to not stop trying, the ability for me to continue to try and persevere, the ability for me to not let these injuries dictate what I wanted to do with basketball or my career, because the injuries led me to wanting to be a trainer, to help other athletes develop their bodies, their strength, their perseverance, their grit, their resilience, physically and mentally. And I did just that. Came to Israel, did it for 4 years. From a career standpoint, being caught with so many obstacles, it allowed me to never get upset about getting rejected at a job, to never get upset about underperforming at a job, to never get upset about not getting the thing that I wanted to get, to then instead look at myself and say, how can I improve? What can I change? How can I compete? If there's a girl that I really wanted to date and get her number, figure out how to get it. Don't get ruined by a rejection from somebody else just because she wasn't interested. Move on. If I want to go get a job, a specific job, I figure out how to do it. I don't just go the regular way. I go through the back door. I find a connection. I find somebody through LinkedIn. I find somebody who knows somebody, and I get in touch with that person. I get my resume on top of the pile, not just in the middle like everyone else. It's created this sense of urgency inside of me to always be a go-getter, to embrace the things that don't go well in life, to enjoy the moments of uncertainty, to hone in on the periods of reflection and questioning, wondering if what I'm doing is working or not, asking myself if what I'm doing is working or not. Hi, Zoe. In understanding that those are supposed to happen. If life was easy and none of these injuries happened and all of us had it so easy, life would be easy for everybody. We would have nothing difficult to figure out. You know what I mean? The whole point of life is to fucking understand that you're going to struggle. Whether it's me with the basketball stuff or someone else on this call with something else. And the easiest thing that I could have done back when I was 16 was fucking feel bad for myself. Why me? Why am I getting spondylolisthesis? Why am I getting hairline fractures? Why are the doctors not knowing what I'm going through as a 16-year-old? They've never seen a patient like this before. What's so random and unique about me? Why me? Why me, God? But I didn't do that because that wouldn't have gotten me anywhere. It wouldn't have gotten me closer to where I wanted to be. It would have taken me backwards. So instead of feeling sorry for myself, I decided to do something about it. Because today I can tell you that I tried everything in my power to try and create a career for myself as a player, and it didn't work. But I know that as I tried, I found out it can't work. It's not the other way around where it didn't work because I didn't try. So I won't know. No, the reason I won't know is because I wasn't able to successfully get there through trying, which is fine. Because if we all got to where we wanted to through trying everything, everyone would be fucking perfectly happy with what they're doing. I want to read a few things to you off of my website. Because the brand that I created for myself, it's called Grit, Grit, which stands for Gain Resilience in Time. The reason, which is why, obviously one of the reasons why I take so much pride with this necklace, my name means lightning in Hebrew. And Grit, which is about my story of my obstacles, the adversity, physical and mental injuries journey, for me, showed me how through time I can gain resilience. And this resilience has allowed me to be fucking strong, competitive, bulletproof. I don't get broken. My bones might, but my soul, my spirit, my faith, my determination, my consistency, my competitive nature, that shit is covered with armor. It is literally in my name, lightning. I want to read to you what's on my website. The mission. We achieve grit by developing our physical and mental strength to improve all aspects of our lives. Through fitness, you can create a space, an outlet for yourself to gain resilience. Not only do you become healthier, but you also face challenges and accomplish goals. It helps you learn about yourself, develop routines, habits, and a competitive, tenacious work ethic that can be applied to anything else you do in life. No matter who we are, we all face different challenges and forms of adversity throughout our lives. Life's adversity is one of our greatest assets. As soon as you learn to use these obstacles to your advantage in life, you will instantly become better, stronger, tougher, and more self-aware. You begin to develop grit and pursue the things you love most. Below are 10 elements from my own life and journey which serve as the pillars to building your own inner grit. Number 1, character. Define the person you want to become. Number 2, determination. Make the decisions to become a better person every day. Number 3, inspiration. Seek your purpose and create your process. Number 4, motivation. Find your pulling force, your motive. Never let go of that. Number 5, passion. Do what you love and love what you do forever. Number 6, consistency. Never allow yourself to be the reason you aren't developing. Number 7, patience. Remember that it is about the process, not the results. Number 8, courage. Take risks, don't fear challenges, and step out of your comfort zone. Number 9, leadership. Lead by example. Ask yourself if you set a good example for others. And number 10, adversity. Learn to embrace life's biggest asset, period. These 10 pillars of my life, character, determination, inspiration, motivation, passion, consistency, patience, courage, leadership, and adversity, have allowed me to navigate the athletic journey, the professional journey, the social journey, the emotional journey, the spiritual journey. Life. We, as human beings and as creatures, a lot of the times find it very easy for us to play the victim card and about ourselves when things don't go our way. But there's this phrase in life where everything happens for a reason. Yeah? And I've had slight trouble with that for the majority of my life. And the way that I like to rephrase it is everything happens for a reason, comma, that does not mean that you have to be content with those reasons. So if everything happens for a reason and something doesn't go your way and you don't want it to be that way, you shouldn't be content with the fact that it didn't go your way. Do something about it. If everything happens for a reason and you didn't pass that test, if everything happens for a reason and you didn't get that job, if everything happens for a reason and you didn't get that person's number, if everything happens for a reason, sure, you're right. Everything happens for a reason. But you should not be always content with those reasons. Some of those reasons are signs. Some of those signs should be read and heard, digested and applied, evaluated. We need to look at the obstacles that we face as human beings in life and understand that we should never just point at ourselves and point up and say, why me, why me? It will not get you anywhere. It will also not get your children anywhere when they're fucking going through something and they're looking for you to help them. Because when you were going through shit, all you did was point up and go like this. He or she or it isn't gonna be there. You didn't get that job, then it wasn't meant to be. You didn't get their number, then it wasn't meant to be. You failed that test? Wait a minute. Maybe I have to hold myself accountable. Did you study? If you did, how consistent did you study? Did you really study? You tore your ACL. You rehabbed. At month 10, you're not ready. Did you rehab? Really? How well did you rehab? Consistently or not? Did you stick to it? We have to hold ourselves accountable first. This is why earlier in the stream I told you I was never, ever, ever going to allow myself to be the reason that I wasn't able to play. If then still I'm not able to, I can at least go to sleep at night and be content and comfortable with who I am because I have given it my fucking all. I've given it my all. I'm not a very religious person, but I do believe in faith and I am a spiritual person in some capacities. When I've visited the Western Wall in Jerusalem, there have been times where I've taken notes and I've written something on them and I've put those notes into the Western Wall tradition for those who visit. You can write about anything. And 2 to 3 times in my life, I've taken pictures of these notes with dates. I've written down that I wanted to come to Israel and work for Maccabi Tel Aviv. I've written down that I want to come to Israel and make Aliyah. Both of these things have happened to me. I just heard a podcast from Pat Beverly, who is a former NBA player who's playing now in Israel, who talked about his experience when he was playing in Russia, that he came to Jerusalem to go to the Christian quarter. He went to the Western Wall, I think also during his visit, and he put a note into the wall. And he said, I want to go to the NBA. The next year, he went to the NBA. There are certain things in life that we are able to... Sorry, there's a little fly in here. I'm just trying to get it out of my way. There are certain things in life that we are able to manifest for ourselves. But Pat Beverly putting a note into the Western Wall and then crossing his fingers, holding his breath, waiting to get that's not how he got to the NBA. He put a little bit of beautiful energy and hope into the world, but then he worked his fucking face off and he got to the NBA. I said I wanted to go to Maccabi Tel Aviv to work there, and then I did everything in my power to network my way into the NBA, Maccabi. So holding ourselves accountable, because if Pat Beverly put that note into the wall and then waited for the fucking NBA coaches and recruiters to call him, he'd be delusional. And then he would say, I didn't get the call. I'm not going to the NBA. Everything happens for a reason. Well, you shouldn't be content with that because it's your fault you didn't make it happen. We like to hold other people accountable. We never fucking like to hold ourselves accountable. It's insane. And then when others hold us accountable, we get mad. We get angry. And these are the same people in life that when adversity hits, they are not ready. They don't know how to adapt. They don't know how to understand that this is supposed to happen, or if it isn't supposed to happen, you fucking deal with it and you figure out a way to overcome it. I have been programmed so fucking much by this point, people, that I just get punched, or I get out of the way when the punch comes and I'm ready. And this has allowed me to be so determined to do what I love, to do something that makes me happy, to help other people, to inspire other people to understand what it is that they want to do and help them figure out what it is that they want to do. Because I've been in rock bottom before, from the perspective of being unhappy, being upset, being sad, being angry, not content with where I am. And I've allowed all of this time off and away to evaluate who I am and the things that do make me happy given the circumstances that I have. and I've made the best of it. I've traveled across the world. I've trained professional NBA and WNBA players. I've created a private business for myself doing this. I've transitioned into being an activist. The list goes on and on and on and on. And every other person can do it. Every other person can do it. I've taken risks. I've chosen to work for free. I've chosen not to take money. I've chosen just to learn. I've chosen just to listen. I've taken a very high risk journey in life to get closer to the things that make me happiest. All in the name of challenges, obstacles, and adversity. And it's the best decision that I've ever made, because the other way that I could have done it when I was 16 was say, fuck it. I don't need to go and try and play basketball. I'll just hang up the shoes. I'll go be, I don't know, with my other acquaintances, classmates, neighbors, doing whatever it is to go make money. But I would never go back. I would never go back and change anything about my path. Yes, of course, I wish I had been given a different card by the man above. But this is the card that I was dealt, people. And everybody else has their own card. Everyone else has their own shit. We all have our own insecurities. We all have our flaws. We all have our forms of adversity, our challenges, our obstacles. These are things we need to embrace. It is part of you. You can't change it. So why should you want to change it? It's part of your story. It's in your book. You can't go back and change the chapters. But what you do have control over is fucking never letting go of that pen. Continuing to write, continuing to script, continuing to carve out the things that you want to do. I told you earlier in this stream that on October 6th, I was speaking with an individual who I was about to take on for taking the lead on growing my brand. And Overload Methuselah, thank you so much. And one of the things that we had written down was my pursuit and sort of endeavor of wanting to branch into motivational speaking, which hasn't changed. My full story with my injuries, the battles, and everything like this has allowed me to inspire people, not just from a basketball and fitness perspective. I have received messages from former high school teammates, from random followers on the internet over the years after they consume my content, because I was able to inspire them to take a step in life, to quit their job, to move, to go make that song, to go begin that startup, to go sell that thing, to go travel to that place and climb that mountain, whatever the thing is, all because of maybe the story that I was able to tell and the platform that I was able to provide for somebody else. And that, to me, is more important than anything. Because if you can take your own story, your own challenges, overcoming the adversity that you have gone through as an individual, and you can help somebody else because you know what it's like to get punched and then get right back up over and over and over, then you have wisdom and you have things that you can give to somebody else that might be able to help them, and you never know if it does. And to me, that is the beauty of embracing life's adversity. It's the beauty of embracing the obstacles and the challenges and not having an easy way in life. I have already opened up, should I say, my live call section on my Discord channel for anyone that wants to ask questions about my journey, fitness, basketball, injury, motivation, anything. I'd like to stay away from Israel and the war. If you ask me about any of those things, I'm going to take you off. This stream is dedicated to what we just spoke about. So for those of you in my Discord, for the very amazing small community we have here, on the left side, you have live streams. You can press live calls. Join the audience. Raise your hand if you want to come up to the stage. If I see you raise your hand, I will call you up. If there's anyone here that has not made it to my Discord channel yet, this is the link to my Discord. You can join right now just by pressing that link. Pop it open. It's free. So far no one's in. I'll give it another couple minutes. If nobody joins, then I will comb through here and see if there are any questions. No, Zoe, I meant the live stream, not the Discord. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
I think you're magnificent for telling the truth. And the person who beats his flaws and accepts it is the strongest being in the world, but that does not mean we stop fighting.
1000%. Couldn't agree with that more.
And we meet people to teach us, help us, lift us up, or sometimes who we do not want to be.
Fully agree. This is why we sometimes don't always know why we go through certain things, but later then find out why we went through them.
Yes, everything hits you later. It doesn't hit you right that moment.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And just keep doing what you can do. And if people like you, talk to you during this time, I call that a blessing. Never get up because it might not return.
Yeah, that's super true. It's not a bad thing to be liked, huh?
Hey, don't mock me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying facts. That, hey, it's a blessing to be passed around during this time, because during the darkness you learn who really values you. Doesn't matter who you are.
I agree.
So just keep doing what you do, and you gotta have faith in your community and your friends, because in the end your community members are also your friends.
This is why I'm so excited about, you know, the Discord, the YouTube, the Patreon, like, you know, because I personally, I don't have family here in Israel. So like, I also, my three best, I talk about this all the time. My three best friends are not in Israel either. So my days are usually spent alone, which isn't a bad thing. Okay. Like I embrace the independence. I like the fact that I'm able to develop a good relationship with myself and really get to know myself, because I think it's so important for the future. But then when sometimes I want to speak to others, I'm like, holy shit, I have this like beautiful fucking community that I can just open up my phone right now and speak to them. Like, they're all over the world. They're in America and Canada and Europe and Asia and Australia and India and South, like they're everywhere. So that keeps me very grounded too.
You must keep your chin up, because in the end, your community members are the ones who are going to lift you up. But if you don't see that, then it's going to be hard for them to make you realize it. Like
Yeah.
I said, during this time, you see who really values you.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Absolutely.
Anybody else want to come in the call in and speak to him?
Yeah, we got one right here.
Okay, now you can put me down and I
Alright.
can leave.
Alrighty. Spala. Hello? You there? I think you're on mute. Spala, 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 spala. Okay, so.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Okay. Oh, hello. I got a laptop on and my phone on.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's it going?
My day is pretty good. My day is pretty good. Where in the world are you?
Well, I'm from Finland. We have been called like once before.
I remember you. I just didn't remember where you were calling from.
Yeah. But the sport, yeah, definitely. You are like inspirational coach, I would say, because well, my childhood and my teenage years and until the end when I was 22 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I was quite, let's say, compassing about to getting pro wrestler or pro baseball player and pro ice hockey player and shit like this. But I was quite stupid and quite bad boy, and I did make some fucking stupid mistakes, and those mistakes,
Do you mind?
I'm carrying those mistakes in my life all the time.
Do you mind sharing what some of those mistakes were?
Well, of course. Back in 2003,
Mm-hmm.
Approaching the middle of
my dad got murdered, and I flipped out. So
I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah. So I was so fucking angry that I didn't give a shit about anymore, like life, about anyone else. And I did beat up 3 guys. Well, they attacked me, but I did beat up them. Well, quite good. Let's say like this. And I thought it was.
Hey, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know what happened.
Well, so I beat those 3 guys quite badly. and I stole the car of this one dude. And the police just didn't didn't like it. It's just well, let's say like this. This is quite hard to me to, you know, go back because it all went that it all started when my dad was murdered, and I was so fucking pissed off about it, and I just lost myself. Suddenly, I just lost myself, and I regret that shitty thing that I did for the rest of my life, because that thing affects at me still. Like, yeah. But now I'm quite over it. Because, well, I was in the army, but because of my criminal records, you know what happens when you have criminal records and you have to go, go up in rankings, and they see that you have something like violent shit. They don't appreciate that so much. Yeah, but my childhood was great. My teen years were great. I didn't exactly play with toys and stuff, because I was all the time at practicing some, well, wrestling, baseball, Finnish baseball, ice hockey, football, well, soccer for Americans, floorball, what else? Shooting, archery, skiing, snowboarding, all at the same time. I was a Scandinavian master in wrestling, Finnish master in wrestling, Finnish master in baseball. Well, our football team sucked. Our ice hockey team was the greatest of all in our religion, the area, and well, actually we were like sixth best team in Finland back then. In swimming, I was in a breaststroke. I was finished third place. Sorry, I'm drunk too now, so I don't know why I'm calling only when I'm drunk. Only then when I'm drunk. Well, maybe I'm a little bit nervous to talk. I don't know.
That's okay. I mean, I think it's very, very brave of you to share the story. I also think when I think about, obviously, the idea of people having obstacles and adversity, it clearly comes in different shapes and forms. Mine was about mental and physical challenges from a basketball career standpoint, and yours was the loss of somebody in your life, or should I say, not the loss of the tragic, loss of somebody in your life, which is.
Can I stop you 1 minute? And I fucking saw it. My dad was burned alive, so it was quite sick things to watch.
Yeah, that is
That's mental.
intense. But like, if you had never shared that story, then I would never have guessed that that's something that someone like you had ever gone through, which says a lot about who you are today and your character. Like, it's very easy to also not react the same way to something like that. So let's say I give you a lot of credit for being able to channel some of it. I know you said you weren't able to at the beginning, but who am I to judge you? Because I haven't gone through that myself. But you have from a few of the people in the chat right now, including Sushila, who is also from Finland. You have a very big hug. So you have a lot of love right now from the community, which is all the only thing that I would want, you know? So thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being brave enough to get on and mention everything. And it gives a lot of us perspective, because we all never know enough about the person on the other end of the call, or the person that we're speaking to, or the person standing in line with us at the coffee shop, or any of that stuff. So we can never really judge somebody because we don't have enough context. So thank you for calling in and sharing that, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my point is that if you are, like, say, really into the sport and you really love and like it, go with it. Don't listen to anybody else. Just listen to your heart and go with the intuition. What is the word?
Intuition.
Intuition.
Yes.
Intuition. Yeah. Don't listen to anybody else but your heart and
I fully
yourself.
I fully agree with you. And thank you for sharing all of that. I'm gonna take another caller here so we can give somebody else an opportunity to share. But thank you so much for
speak to.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. To you too. Bye.
We have a very special guest. This has never happened before. Coming on right now. He needs no introduction. BT's bugging out. Yo, I am too, no lie. It's kind of crazy. Mr. Nash, Mr. Tom Nash, Mr. Book, you are being brought up to the stage, my friend.
I didn't realize I have to press a button when it happens.
That's fine. It must be your first time on Discord.
Yeah, I've never done this, so I was talking to myself. So thank you for having me on, and I'm excited to join this live stream with the community. And it's a pleasure. I listen in every once in a while, and I make sure to hop on and just listen to all these interesting stories. I'm just fascinated about how powerful your community is. I call it the Scorpion community. It's small, but it packs a very, very lethal punch. And I love that about you guys.
Listen, I hope everyone just heard what Tom said, because I think we need a lot of that reassurance, especially right now, because sometimes we lose sight of that, and people get caught up in the numbers, and even myself sometimes too. But I don't know if you were here a couple minutes ago when I was talking about the idea that, like, I don't have family in Israel, and my best friends aren't here, but what I do have is, like, every single day I get to wake up and I have this, like, really dense community across the world, covering all continents, that I can speak to in a matter of 4 or 5 seconds on the internet. And it really it keeps me going, for me to be able to continue to get on these live streams, to put out this content. And I hope they really hear and understand what you're saying too, because I always try and explain to the community member in the inner circle that, like, me showing up for this live stream or me putting up the YouTube, like, none of this intrinsic motivation, it isn't here without them, because, like, I put this out as a result of them being here.
I think it's also important to underscore the importance of your community. Look, the world is filled with anti-Semitism. It is filled with disinformation. It is filled with a lot of Jew hate and Israeli hate, to the point where today there's a very famous clip circulating, which I think you should make a video about. If I didn't have guests over, I would have already thought about it earlier. But I don't know if you happened to catch the Piers Morgan interview with Dan Bilzerian.
I was supposed to watch it after this stream.
So I don't want to ruin the video for you, but guys, you have to listen to this, okay? Because I know that Dan Bilzerian is not a fan of the Jews, okay? There's many reasons behind this, but the main reason is the fact that Dan Bilzerian is an Armenian guy and is heavily nationalistic, and the Israelis have been helping Azerbaijan, which is the sworn enemies of Armenians. They actually are in war. And because Israel is so allied with the Azerbaijanis, so there's some underlying issues why he hates Israel, he hates the Jews, and this is, anyways, it is what it is. I'm not here to talk about Dan Bilzerian. So he was on Piers Morgan, and he was saying such things openly that Piers Morgan, who is a very tolerant person, I think we would all agree here that Piers Morgan is a very tolerant person to very different opinions, okay? So Piers Morgan was literally speechless, and this is not clickbait. It was literally speechless. I can't believe you just said that. Are you admitting that you're just an anti-Semite? I mean, are you here just to say like that in the open? Basically, he was saying, look, Piers Morgan was telling him, look, some people that share these opinions with you, they try to sugarcoat it a little bit, make it more palatable, you know what I mean? Try to talk about Zionism, but he was just outright saying, yeah, it's Jewish supremacy, the problem of all the world's problems, and weird things like that. And Piers Morgan was saying, my goodness, I can't believe I'm hearing this out of you. You came here to expose yourself as an anti-Semite. This is insane. So Piers Morgan was going at him, which he usually doesn't do with his interviewers. And I watched a clip of it on social media, right? And then I said, well, interesting. I'm just going to go to the comment section and see what's up in the comment section. First comment was, well, Dan Bilzerian has 30 million views. After this clip, he's going to have 60 million. Good for him. Wow, Dan Bilzerian is so brave against the Zionist machine. Dan Bilzerian, Piers Morgan is a Zionist asshole. Good for you. Comment after comment after comment. I must have had over 50 comments like that until I reached somebody with half a brain who was like, what did we just watch? I mean, like a normal human reaction. Oh, this was just pure kind of racist rants. And you see, the problem is that the world is dominated by all this massive media that is both on mainstream media. If you look at the BBC, for example, that's a prime example, but on social media, there's so much noise and disinformation and so much anti-Semitism and so much just blatant 1939 vibes going on in the world right now. There's very few media outlets that are countering that. One is Vicegrad, which we talked about, right? Which does incredible work, but he's one out of thousands of channels that do the opposite. You as small as you are, are still one of the only counter voices out there in the world talking about what's actually going on, giving the truth. And I know the community is not huge, but this is the best we got, and this is what we're going to go to war with, right? So in this informational war, sorry to use the Alex Jones terminology, not a huge fan of Alex Jones, but I mean, no hate to Alex, but I'm saying there's an information war going on, and in this war, there's very few communities like yours that are spreading the right message, the objective truth, and what people usually don't get to hear. And that's why I think that everybody here in this room, it is critical that you find a way to support this community and support Barack, because it's a very, very hard business. He's losing business, he's losing work out of this. Is not like he's dedicating himself to this channel. So ask yourself, the famous words of JFK, not what this channel can do for you, what you can do for this channel to keep it going. Ask yourself, well, what can I do? Okay, if I don't have any money and I can't do anything monetary, I'm going to share the hell out of these videos. I'm going to post it everywhere on social media. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to share it with all my friends. I'm going to bombard everybody I know. I'm going to comment the video. I'm going to rewatch the entire catalog of videos just to signal to the algorithm that this channel is strong. I'm going to ask all my friends to do so. And if I have a little bit of extra dollars, I'm going to sign up for the Patreon and pay him $5 a month instead of getting a Starbucks every day. So I get it one day less so I can support this channel that does God's work. So I urge those of you in the chat right now, those of you in this live stream, to find that place where you can be a part of the engine that keeps us going, because it is an uphill battle. It is a Herculean task, and we have to climb Mount Everest naked, which is not going to be easy. But with the help of this small community that is a Scorpion, I believe you can do it. I got to run, but just wanted to let you know I really appreciate all the hard work you're putting in. I'm a huge, huge supporter, and hopefully the community adheres to what I'm saying and finds a way to support you and help you with all the great work you've been doing.
Wow. Listen, I know your time is very limited, so I just want
I got to run right now. So sorry. But really, really much, much love for all of you guys, okay?
Thank you, Tom. Tom is the equivalent. Tom is. Does anyone here not know who that was? If anyone that just listened to that call does not know who just called in, go to YouTube and type in Tom Nash TV. 400,000 subscribers, one of the largest finance channels on YouTube in this region of the world. I think, a lot of his subscribers are in Europe and in Asia, I'm assuming the Middle East. He has a geopolitical channel as well with like 65,000 subscribers. Legend. We just had not a Michael Jordan in the arena. We just had a top 10 player in the NBA just call. Right now, all of you. That was powerful. I've listened and watched a lot of Tom's videos before, and he is such an incredible speaker. He's really strong. He demands the respect from the room and the listener. He just has a calm approach, but it's sharp. And I think Tom just explained what I've had trouble explaining for like 14 months of my life. Climbing Mount Everest naked, it is an uphill battle. And I would consider what I do very much contributing to God's work. I've lost a lot of business. I've lost a lot of opportunity and space, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So hopefully next time I'll get more than a few minutes to thank him for what he just said. And hopefully those who are listening now and maybe those who will be watching the recording of this will really hear what Tom is saying. To get a call from someone like that is a big deal. It's a very big deal. I'm just going to link right now my Patreon because the Patreon is growing. Ladies and gentlemen, I've started this thing called the Community Suggestion Box, which is essentially a poll system where the community members in the inner circle on Patreon get to vote on the content that they want me to make for the exclusive bonus content that I'm only putting out for Patreon. And they asked for a few things, and one of them was a full tour of Hostage Square. And yesterday I went to Hostage Square and I did a full tour of Hostage Square, and I put it out on Patreon today. It released today for all of the paid members of the inner circle. And I'm just trying to look to see if I have just want to show you. I went and I showed the tunnels, I showed the displays. So there is an exclusive already out on Patreon of Hostage Square. And if you want to join and get access to this content, I'm going to send the link to you right now. Did someone just send a super chat? Holy shit, Tom Nash just sent us 35 shekels. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to ring the bell. Tom Nash just sent us the first and only super chat of the day. That is so awesome. Where is that fucking bell? Tom Nash comes on, drops 5 or 10 minutes of absolute knowledge and facts, and then comes on and goes all the way, not just for the home run, for the grand slam, and just contributed the first and only super chat of the day, which is so generous, brother. Tom, thank you, man. Having somebody, like I said earlier, having somebody like Tom call in is like having a top 10 NBA player. it's I don't know why the bell is not working so well, but that's just an honor to have somebody like that. So Tom, we thank you so much. If anybody was listening to Tom and curious, that is the link right there to my Patreon. There are 5 different tiers. Today was the first. It's a 15-minute full tour of Hostage Square. I have some really cool exclusive interviews coming up with an individual who created and led the largest project for saving, I don't want to give it away, saving an incredible amount of lives with one of the bordering countries of Israel through a humanitarian rescue project. The largest in the IDF's history and the largest in any modern army's history from a humanitarian rescue project. He will be on. I will be having him on later, hopefully this month or early in December. So really cool stuff coming up. Anyways, speaking of Patreon, those of you who are on the Patreon, you know the drill, because it is time to end this YouTube live stream, and I'm moving over to the Patreon Inner Circle to give them their time. That is part of the tradition here with the Patreon community. When I finish on YouTube, we go over, and if you want to continue the conversation, you should join the Inner Circle. Press this link right here, join the Patreon. 5 different tiers, starting at $5 a month. It's 1 trip to Starbucks less to support this channel, this work, fighting the propaganda war, amplifying the voice of Israel and the truth and what is going on. This is the most important shit in the world, aside from what is going on the ground, because there are people like Dan on Piers Morgan who are brainwashing fucking more dumb people. And we have to do our part. With that being said, it has been an incredible live stream. Thank you for joining. Tom, thank you. Everyone else, thank you. Patreon members, I'll see you in a few.